Have you ever felt trapped in a place where your dreams seemed too far away? Maybe you've told yourself, I wasn't born for success. People like me don't reach that high. But what if I told you that even the humblest worker in a dusty factory could rise to become the engineer who designs the very machines he once served? This is not just a story about a man. It is a story about all of us, about perseverance and the quiet power of refusing to give up. In a small industrial town in India, there was a young man named Arjun. He came from a family that had little. His father was a farmer who struggled against the monsoons, and his mother sold vegetables in the local market. Education was never the priority. Survival was. So, at just 18, Arjun began working in a factory. His hands grew calloused from lifting heavy metal sheets. His shirt always smelled of grease, and the machines drowned out every thought with their endless roar. To most people, this was life. You worked, you earned your wage, you went home and repeated it the next day. But deep inside, Arjun carried something dangerous, a dream. Every night, after 10 hours of labor, when his co-workers rushed to cheap tea shops or crowded dormitories, Arjun walked to a small evening school. He was tired, his back ached, and sometimes his eyes barely stayed open. But he sat under the dim tube light, pen in hand, struggling through pages of mathematics and engineering textbooks. His friends laughed at him. They mocked, "You're a factory worker. You'll always be a factory worker. Accept it." But Arjun never replied with anger. He simply smiled, because he understood something they didn't. Education is not about where you are. It's about where you can go. The road was never easy. There were nights when Arjun had to choose by food or by books. There were days he failed exams and felt crushed. There were weeks when exhaustion nearly broke his spirit. But here, as the truth, success is not built in the moments of excitement. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. Every formula he practiced, every diagram he drew, every chapter he revised, it was like laying one tiny brick, and slowly those bricks built the foundation of a future no one else could see. Years passed. Arjun's persistence became his armor. One day, the factory announced they were hiring junior engineers. Most workers didn't even look at the notice. They knew it wasn't tea for them. But Arjun applied. The manager looked at him in surprise. "You, a laborer, do you even qualify?" Arjun didn't argue. He handed in his exam results, his certificates, earned through nights of sweat and sacrifice. And when the day of the test came, he didn't just pass, he excelled. That evening, for the first time, Arjun walked into the factory not as a worker, but as an engineer. He stood taller, his hands no longer only carrying tools, but designing solutions. This story might sound simple, but it holds a deep truth. Many of us believe our beginnings decide our destiny. But beginnings are only starting lines, not verdicts. Experts in psychology often say human potential is not fixed. It expands with effort, environment, and mindset. Arjun's story is proof. He didn't climb quickly, he climbed slowly. He stumbled, he doubted, but he kept moving. And consistency, that quiet, unglamorous consistency, turned a factory worker into an engineer. Think about it. A seed in dry soil doesn't grow overnight. It spends years building roots in silence. Arjun's nights of study were his roots. The world mocked because they couldn't see underground. But when the right season arrived, he rose, tall and unshakable. So maybe the question is not, can I succeed? The real question is, am I willing to water my roots long enough before the world notices? Arjun's story is not just his, it's a mirror. Maybe you're in a small town. Maybe you're working long hours. Maybe your dreams feel impossible. But remember, your effort is never wasted. Every late night you spend learning, every failure you rise from, every small step forward, they are bricks. And one day, those bricks will become the foundation of a life you once thought was out of reach. So don't give up. Don't listen to the voices that laugh. They only see today. You must live for tomorrow. Because perseverance is not just about holding on. It's about becoming someone you never imagined you could be. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope. Subscribe to this channel for more modern parables that can shift the way you see your own life. And never forget, your starting point is not your limit. It is only your beginning. Final thought. Arjun entered the factory as a worker, but he left as proof that persistence transforms destiny. And maybe, just maybe, your destiny is waiting for you too. If only you refuse to let go.